All right. Hey, thank you again for everybody for joining us today for today's announcement. With their upcoming book, we have Erika Cardona here and Teddy Bridgewater. One thing before we begin, please note that Teddy will be available to media tomorrow to discuss the upcoming game against the Raiders. So we're just asking that everybody kind of focus their questions on the announcement related to their book today. So with that, I will open up. Do you want to start with an announcement, or do you want to start with a statement, Erika, or do you want to open it up for questions?
I'll probably just start with a quick announcement.
Okay.
So, Little Bear Teddy, Big Change. This is a new book in the series. First book is Big Dream Come True. We came up with the idea of Little Bear Teddy in 2016, and as you all ask questions, you'll find out a little bit more about who Little Bear Teddy is and what we do.
All right, with that, we'll open up the floor for questions.
Erika and Teddy, I guess. Hi, it's Josh Klein from the Riot Report. I guess just to start, if you could tell us a little bit about where the idea for Little Bear Teddy came from and how you guys kind of brought him to life, I guess.
Yes, so Little Bear Teddy, I came up with the idea in 2016 when the real Teddy had his unfortunate injury. So I began writing while he was in the hospital and doing his recovery process. I just had to have something that'll help me cope with the fact that Teddy was injured, and that's where I came up with Big Dream Come True, the first book in the Little Bear Teddy series. And that book actually, it teaches children that no matter how big your dream is, it can come to life as long as you put forth hard work and effort. The second book, actually, I wrote it this past year and during the transition period. And I kind of used Teddy's story as a little bit of motivation for that one as well. We all know Minnesota did not pick up his fifth-year option. He was picked up by the Jets. He then got traded to the Saints, and now he's had a huge big change where he's now a part of the Carolina Panthers. So that's where Big Change came from. Also, during my writing process of Big Change, I experienced a big change of my own where I had to have biopsies done on my thyroid. So I used him as a part of my motivation for that story as well, and I dedicated that book to him.
Hey, Erika. My name's Jonathan Alexander. I hope you're doing well.
Thank you.
What in particular, I guess, about Teddy's journey, I guess, in recovering from his injury really stood out when you were creating this book?
So Little Bear Teddy has 4 core values, and those are hard work, determination, resiliency, and perseverance. And watching Teddy during his entire recovery process, not once did he ever complain. Not once did he question God and ask, why me? So just seeing how determined he was to make it back, how resilient he was during this whole change of going from one team to the next, how he has persevered through everything, that has been my motivation when writing both books.
Hey, Erika, it's Elena Getzenberg. It's nice to meet you.
Thank you.
I was wondering, what's your background? Did you want to write, books, or, how did you kind of get into that? Or is that just something that, you wanted to write about Teddy's story specifically?
So I actually have been writing since I was younger. I grew up writing poetry, and I have an education background, so I'm an early childhood teacher. And I knew I wanted to write a book at some point, and it's kind of crazy to say, but it's like Teddy's life, not the injury itself, but just watching him throughout life, that's just been my biggest motivational piece. But it wasn't until his injury that I was like, okay, now I have time to actually sit and get this done, and I use him as my motivation for it. So you will find that in the book, I stick to my education background where you'll find rhythm and rhyme, repetition and words. So it kind of gears toward the children.
I had a question for Teddy. Teddy, Mike Solarte, Spectrum News 1. Quarterbacks in general have and I say this with all due respect, you guys have big egos because you guys have to be the leaders. You guys have to be the guys, in control. So are you fairly characterized as a teddy bear, or would you prefer to be a different character and not little bear Teddy?
Man, at the end of the day, it's it's not about me. The character, little bear Teddy, the teddy bear itself, it's just a national symbol for a lot of children across the world. And a lot of children, when we were younger, all had that teddy bear that we could relate to, that was our best friend and things like that. So, I mean, it's not about me. I don't mind being a teddy bear. If she wanted me to be an iguana or something like that, I would have been that. So just so happened that my name happens to be Teddy. And little kids love teddy bears, so it's a perfect fit.
And following up on that in a serious mode, I mean, Erika is your friend and you guys have a lot of history together, but to be the inspiration for somebody's books, for her to be published now twice, and for you to be the impetus for that, I mean, that's got to feel pretty special.
Yeah, it's a great feeling. And, you talk about, giving a person their flowers while they can still smell them. I think that's what Erika is doing, with, the two books. And it's just great that I could be a huge, inspiration to her with everything, from her teaching to the way she impacts children, how passionate she is about that. It just means a lot to me to be, a huge inspiration and motivation for that.
Hey, this is Deshawn with Channel 9. This question is for the both of you, and thank you for taking the time on this. Curious if you could share an example of the impact you've seen from children who've had a chance to meet Little Bear Teddy and really understand the character.
You want to take it, Teddy?
Oh, yeah. So, it's just great. You run into, kids. I have a good relationship with one of my former equipment managers from University of Louisville, Mike Karowski, and his sons. They love Little Bear Teddy. They have shirts. They have copies of the books, and it just means a lot. It's very impactful to see, the support and to see the impact that you're making in their lives. That, they're children with dreams also, and to be able to watch me live out my dream, it's huge motivation to them to dream big also, and understand that no dream is too big. And even with changes that acquire, I think about Mike and his family. I met them when I was at the University of Louisville, and they've been to University of Missouri, and they had to relocate also. So his sons had to relocate. It was a big change for them. So for me, it's huge to see that the books can relate to everyone's life and everything that people may be going through. And just to have Mike and his family support just means a lot.
Hey, y'all, if I could just ask a small detail question, hope that's all right. How long have y'all known each other?
Since sophomore year, freshman year high school.
Mm-hmm.
You sure?
Yeah, freshman year high school.
I'm just playing with you. I'm just messing with you.
Erika, Mike Solarte again with Spectrum News One. This is the second book, and in the announcement, it's a series.
Yes.
So now we've seen the first two. So how much are you leaning on Teddy to inspire a third and a fourth and a fifth and all those things?
It's in the works. I don't like to say my inspiration comes from, certain events in his life. So hopefully nothing else traumatic will happen. Hopefully it'll be something positive along the way as we see his career take off in Carolina. But a third book is definitely on the way.
Hey, Erika, what's the equivalent of a Super Bowl ring in Little Bear Teddy's world?
I would say for book one, it would be seeing that dream just come to life. And then for book two, adaptability and being resilient. So just as long as, you have that goal in mind, you see it come true, that's a Super Bowl ring, and it can be a Super Super Bowl ring for children, and then having the ability to just bounce back from anything. Because our whole goal with Little Bear Teddy, we like to relate it to life. So it doesn't matter what your Super Bowl is, just as long as you make it there.
Hey, Teddy, I'm just interested, Josh Graham, by the way, Sports Up Try. Is there an example where you're talking about your story in Minnesota and being traded and facing adversity, where outside the context of Little Bear Teddy, you've been able to connect with somebody, a younger person who is dealing with something?
Yeah. I was actually on a call last week with one of my former players at my high school. He attends the University of Buffalo now, and he was just talking about some adversity and some of the things that he was going through, and I was just able to just, I found myself talking about Little Bear Teddy, but at the time I wasn't aware. So I just told him, man, my core values, Erika's core values, Little Bear Teddy, and it hit home with him. So that was just one example.
Did you see just a few years ago when you were going through everything you went through in Minnesota that something like this was possible, where you're starting in the NFL and your likeness is being used in kids' books?
Yeah, and I credit that to Erika. She made it all possible. Her vision and the way she sees life through a pen, and the way she's able to relate to little children, that's very motivating. So for me, it was like, man, here I am trying to bounce back from this injury years ago. And she was right there, just, whether it's recording videos of me dancing or having a good time or just me struggling to bend my knee, she found purpose in everything that I was going through also. So throughout that time, I did see, a future in, being used in the book, thanks to Erika, like I said.
Guys, it's Joe Person with The Athletic. Appreciate y'all doing this. Is COVID, are y'all planning any book signings locally here in Charlotte, or is that going to be, tough to pull off with COVID?
So we haven't discussed it yet because, of course, the health of everyone is top priority. Hopefully in the near future, if things do get better, we would love to have book signings.
And is the website the best place for folks to order the book and so forth?
Yes, littlebearteddy.com.
One other one. I was curious if you guys could take us back to the moment where you had a copy of the very first book in your hands and could actually see it come to life.
It's different when you write something on paper. You see the manuscript there. But once you actually hold the hard copy in your hand, it's like a baby. It's the best feeling in the world, just seeing your hard work actually come to life. And I know with the second book, I don't know how it felt for Teddy, but knowing that I dedicated that book to him and having his name on the dedication page, I don't know what it felt like, but I know for me, opening the page and seeing what I wrote for him, it feels amazing. I can't even describe it.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a humbling feeling also, but it's one of those moments where you can take a second and be proud, not only of yourself, but of Erika with all the hard work that she put into just taking the time to write and come up with these brilliant ideas. So this is one of those deals where, in the house you have your enshrinement with the game balls, the jerseys and cleats. This goes right in that enshrinement with those items.
Hey, Teddy, this is Kelly Bardick, WCCB News. You call yourself the neighborhood hope dealer. How do these books fall in line with that?
Man, when you talk about having dreams and your dream coming true, going through adversity and overcoming it, that gives people hope. When people can see you in the flesh, me as a person, when they can have a copy of Little Bear Teddy and be able to relate to me, that's giving hope. And all of that is possible with Erika just taking the time to write and bring, my dream and other little boys and girls' dream to life.
Erika, I was wondering for you, obviously with the first book that was kind of going off Teddy's injury and that sort of thing, how did that help you or both of you kind of cope with that? Did that kind of help with, what he was going through at the same time by writing it into a children's story?
Yes, so actually, during the recovery process, I found myself going out in the hallway at the hospital just to get away so that I could talk to my illustrator or finalize something. So it really did help me take my mind off of the injury, because people don't realize when someone close to you goes through something, it not only affects them, it affects you as well. So I just had to find a way to deal with it and cope with it. And writing, that was my way, basically, to deal with that situation. But I can say for sure, turning it into a children's story, I think that it shows children, of course, that no matter what you go through, you can overcome it and you can set your goals and make them come to life.
Do we have any more questions for Teddy or Erika?
Bruce, I just have one for Erika. You just talked about how that was kind of a coping mechanism and kind of helping you get through it. But now that you've got 2 books done and you've seen the journey that Teddy's gone on, from just the personal standpoint, not even the writing side of it, from the personal standpoint, what can you say about your friend Teddy after what he's gone through and where he is now and the road traveled to this?
So,
that wasn't the intent of the question. I'm sorry.
give me a second, I'm sorry. Whew. Teddy is one of the strongest people that I know. In more ways than one. Watching him in high school, not even knowing that he would make it to where he is now, seeing everything that he had to endure in 2016 and just being there for every step of it and watching him overcome it. He has truly been my biggest motivation. And a lot of times when I go through things, I think about his story and what he had to endure, and that helps me get through it. And I spoke about how last year I found a nodule in my thyroid, and I had to undergo 2 biopsies for it. And I had to remember, Teddy never complained about his situation. He never questioned God. So I had to use him as my motivational piece so that I could get through my health scare as well. And I look up to Teddy so much in so many ways. And I know that children around the world will use his story in the same light to look up to him as well. I'm sorry.
Actually, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get you that emotional. I apologize.
It's okay.
Do we have any additional questions for Teddy or Erika? All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining us, and reach out to the website if you need anything or you need additional assistance. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for your
Good luck,
time.
Erika. Thanks,
Thanks, Erika.